What is going on, everyone? The Houston Texans were absolutely destroyed by the Minnesota Vikings 34-7. The Houston Texans, they might have played their worst game in the CJ Stroud, DeMeco Ryans era. There is a lot to talk about. Let's jump right into it. My name is Ruben Calavillo, and this is the 713 Houston Sportcast, where I drop daily Houston Texans content. This episode was brought to you and powered by BetUS. And guys, take advantage of the 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. I want to start with this offensive line, because this unit has been a disappointment so far in this season. I'm going to remind you of everything the Houston Texans have invested into this offensive line. It was 2 first-round picks for Laremy Tunsil, and Nick Caserio gave him a 3-year, $75 million contract extension. It was a first-round pick on Kenyon Green 2 years ago out of A&M. It was trading up in last year's draft in the second round to select Juice Scruggs out of Penn State. You traded for Shaq Mason and gave him a 3-year, $36 million deal. And then your right tackle, Titus Howard, who you spent a first-round pick on, you gave him a 3-year, $56 million contract extension. When you look at all we've invested, all the money, all the draft capital, and you see that in the game, CJ Stroud was pressured on 44.2% of his dropbacks, what are we doing, O-line? You look at the second quarter. You see the 4 penalties by this offensive line in a row, and it made me sick to my stomach. If you saw the stream, you saw me throw this hat down because I could not believe what I was watching. Let me remind you, the Houston Texan offense was marching. They were driving. They were in Vikings territory. And on 3rd and 4, it was a false start by Titus Howard that got it started. Then it was a false start by Juice Scruggs. Then it was a false start by Laremy Tunsil. And then it was an illegal formation by Laremy Tunsil. I just could not believe what was happening before my eyes. And Laremy Tunsil, your captain, had some comments about the false starts. This is what he had to say. This is from Aaron Wilson. False starts, I want people to understand. We all have to be on the same communication. I'll take accountability because they're calling my name, but it takes all of us. Are you kidding me? Laremy Tunsil, let me give you one more quote. They tried to make an example out of us. The first 2 weeks we lined up the same with no problem. Now it's a problem. I feel like someone told them to make an example of us. Got to call it the same both sides. This is the captain of the offensive line speaking. It is alarming and concerning hearing this from Laremy Tunsil. The fact that he doesn't want to take any accountability for the false starts, rather just blame the entire offensive line, is concerning. Laremy Tunsil's so quick to complain about not making an all-pro. He is so quick to drop an eye emoji every time a new tackle gets paid. What hurts about this whole situation is that you know Laremy Tunsil is an elite pass protector. But these continuous false start penalties, these illegal formation penalties, are going to kill the Houston Texans. You saw it wiped away any type of momentum this offense was building. And it's not like this is a new issue with Laremy Tunsil. We've been having problems with him false starting since we've traded for him. We know you could shut down Myles Garrett. We know you could shut down Micah Parsons. And here's the thing. When the Houston Texans were losing and it was one and done head coaches and you had only 7 wins in those 3 years, those false starts were fine. You didn't even care about them because the Houston Texans were already losing. But when you have Super Bowl aspirations, when you have aspirations to get to your first ever AFC championship, these penalties are going to come back and bite you in the ass. And here's the thing. Could you imagine if this happened in the big game? If this happened in a playoff game? we would be sick to our stomachs. And it's not just Laramie Tunsil who's messing up. He's absolutely correct. Shaq Mason has been horrible. Titus Howard has been horrible. But those three guys got the 3-year contract extension from Nick Caserio. Remember, it was Nick Caserio would not give out a 3-year deal, and those three guys were the first players to get a 3-year contract extension from Nick Caserio. That just goes to show you how much he believed in them, and to be honest with you, they're not living up to their end of the bargain. I don't think Laramie Tunsil is going to get benched or need to get benched. I definitely think he needs a stern talking to from our head coach, D'Amico Ryans. But this offensive line, just year in, year out, continues to be the Achilles heel of this Houston Texan offense. Do they get better? They probably will. But, man, it's tough to see. And we have yet to see this Houston Texan offense explode. And what's crazy is that I've seen this offense put up 40 points with no Laramie, no Titus, no Juice, no Kenyon. This Houston Texan offensive line needs to play better. Let's talk about offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, because he did not have a good game either. I was surprised by some of the things he threw out there. I mean, leaving Kate Stover one-on-one against John Grenard, continue to trying to establish the run game when it clearly was not working from the get-go and you were already down 21-0. Try to have CJ Stroud bring you back, because he did it all year last season. With Bobby Slowick, guys, he was getting head coach interviews. He was being touted as a genius from PFF, another great offensive-minded coach from the Shanahan system. And the fact that this Houston Texan offense, this wide receiver elite trio of Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, has yet to take over an NFL defense is concerning. Dalton Schultz has been a non-factor all year. The running game, once again, a failure to do anything after a solid week 1 performance against the Indianapolis Colts, but then we saw the Colts get gashed a week later by the Green Bay Packers. I'm not firing anyone yet. It's week 3. Like I said, I think this offense gets better. I think this was a nice kick in the ass by the Minnesota Vikings. But Bobby Slowick, I'm keeping my eye on you, because we have yet to see a full 4 quarters of consistent Houston Texan offense. Your quarterback, CJ Stroud, had a rough one today. 20 of 31, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 68.6. Credit to the Minnesota Vikings defense and defensive coordinator Brian Flores. He had those boys ready to play. Jonathan Grenard made an impact, man. You saw his tweet at the end of the game. I'm happy to be in Minnesota, where I'm respected. But, man, this offense as a whole just could not get it going, couldn't get any type of momentum, any momentum that the defense gave them. They quickly lost it. This is no indication of a sophomore slump for CJ Stroud whatsoever. The offensive line was really that bad. You saw they only rushed 3 Vikings, and CJ Stroud had to escape the pocket, had to escape pressure. It is alarming how bad this offensive line was in the game and how bad they've been this season. But I think number 7 is going to be fine. I do think this offense is going to click. The only question is when. Because once you start getting down the line and you start playing the Cowboys, the Lions, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Ravens, you cannot have this type of performance from your offense. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Texans offense only put up 7 points. It was probably the worst performance we've seen from this offense since the game against the Carolina Panthers. Does it get better? I damn sure hope so. Let me know in the comments your thought about the offense performance. For more Houston Texans content, you guys know what to do. Feel free and follow me for more. Go Houston. Have a very blessed day.